Hello, how are you? I'm back. I got more stuff to go into your brain. You have a paper that if you folded it, it probably looks like this. If you unfolded it, it would look like this. And it's a pretty straightforward topic. We're kind of building on like if you could find slope from a line. The question would be, could you find slope just given numbers? So in this case, there's different ways we can get x and y values. We can get them from ordered pairs, we can get them from a table. So given either of these, the process is going to look pretty similar. We're finding slope, aka rate of changes. Sorry, I'm old. All right, so slope is the same thing as rate of change, just know that forever. Ordered pairs is pretty simple. So we have an x, y, just like we did for graphs. We're going to put those on a table just to get them organized. So we have a 0 and a -2. We have a 3 and a 22. And when we had a line, it was pretty easy. You could kind of look at the line and go from left to right and see is it going up, is it going down. Here, it's going to be maybe just a little bit harder sometimes depending on if it's positives and negatives. But if I have something, for example, right, -2 goes to 22, so I'm measuring the change in y. If I don't know how much to add from this to this, right, so I'm moving from here to here, I can actually just work backwards. And we talked about this a little bit with lines, right? So I'm just trying a little thought bubble here. So from -2 to 22, if you don't know what that change is, you're just going to do 22 minus -2. So you're finding the difference. When you do that, you're going to get 24. So just say 24, you can think of it as a positive 24. On this side, it's pretty easy to see. From 0 to 3, we're just adding 3. But, you know, if you needed to, if you wanted to, you could just do 3 minus 0 to get your 3, right? So 0 plus 3 makes 3, or 3 minus 3 makes 0. Excuse me, right? So that change is a way, you know, we can solve for that just using inverse operations, almost like when we solve for x. Once you have your numbers, you're good. So you're just doing change in y over change in x. The more you write this, the easier it is going to be for your brain to remember it. So please just be writing that ratio. And then we're just going to plug in 24 over 3. If you were to type that into a calculator, which I have, dun dun dun, clear, 24 divided by 3, I get a positive 8. Right? Another way to think of that is just 8 over 1, because 8 divided by 1 makes 8. So you should have an answer for that. Kind of fold the top down on your paper. Yeesh. Fold the bottom. There we go. We have an answer key on this. 8 is an answer. Cool. Let's keep going. On tables, it's the same idea, right? So in order to get slope, you just need 2 points. So here the problem is we have 1, 2, 3 points. You can cross out any xy combo that you want. So I'm just going to cross out, let's say, 0, -5, just because I don't like negatives. I'm going to focus on the change from 3 to 19, from 2 to 6. If I don't know the change from 3 to 19, I'll just work backwards. So 19, minus 3 is 16 positive. So I'm adding 16. On the left, I'm going from 2 to 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm adding 4, or I could just think of 6 minus 2 makes 4. I'm going to do the change in y over the change in x. So 16 over 4. And if I do 16 divided by 4, I would just get 4. Or I could say 4 over 1, right? So 4 rise, 1 run. That's why it's helpful to have 2 numbers. So you might have teachers in middle school that'll say, oh yeah, always put it in fraction form. Teachers in high school will probably say the same thing. Let's just get maybe one more set up. So just underneath here, we have a horizontal table, which looks a little different, right? The idea is the same. we just need one XY combo. A couple strange things here, beyond it just being horizontal. F of X, if you want, you can just write a Y. It's the same thing. I think for graphing purposes, Y kind of makes a little bit more sense. And all I'm gonna do here is just cross out the big numbers. So I only need an XY and an XY. Now, at this point, I might just go like this, XY, right? If you have the same strategy for slope every single time, you're probably gonna get it right every single time, right? If you're trying to work sideways, it could be a little weird, so I just recommend X is 5, Y is 10. X is 14, Y is 13. This way it looks like every other example we've done, right? So from 10 to 13, we're adding 3. From 5 to 14, if I don't want to count, I can just do 14 minus 5 to find the difference. It's a positive 9. And so the change in Y is plus 3. The change in X is plus 9. So 3 over 9. And then if I do 3 over 9, right? And I'm going to zoom in on this just a little bit since we have some time. So 3 over 9 is a number that just repeats. It's 3 forever, right? On your calculators, if you hit this math button, the first option says 2 fraction. So it's going to take my answer and turn it to a fraction. That gives me 1/3. If you write 1/3 next to the 3/9,